This is Mason. It's 11 o'clock in the morning in Syracuse, and we're live in the 315. Here's Brian Higgins.
Thank you, Mason. Another day, another live in the 315. It is 11 o'clock in the Cuse Eastern Daylight Time. Welcome in, Jen. And your vacation. Shout out to Tampa. Forever Orange Girl. Wheeze. Yeah, we'll talk some projected, like a lot of the precincts reporting, projected new AD, Brian Blair, Brian with a Y, Blair. That's a good question, Wheeze. Which project should be his top priority? Setting aside the obvious of hire a men's basketball coach, we'll take that to the left, right? Like, clearly that is number one. But as far as other things, that's a good topic to explore as we go on throughout the show today. Like, clearly, hire a basketball coach, priority uno. But after that, like, it's going to be, okay, now what are you going to do that is going to properly support the new basketball coach, support Fran Brown, that allows Syracuse to have its best chance of success this year? And that is, not this year, this years, however long this guy's going to be here as athletic director, save for Mark Coyle. Athletic director has not really been a short-tenured job at Syracuse. John Wildhack put in a decade. Daryl Gross before that was there about a decade. Jake Krauhamel was there for, how long was Jake there? Jake was there for 25 years, longer than that. I mean, probably close to 30, I think. For Jake, I don't have Lou Andreas' resume in front of me, but he was there for a minute. So generally, when people have come for this job, save for Mark Coyle, a 9-monther, they have stayed for a minute. So certainly an interesting question. Blair Witch Project. Oh man, I'm sorry, Weez. Too much actual sports thoughts going into the head. It went over my head. I'm going to answer your question the real way, not the M. Night Shyamalan way. There'll be a crop circle. There was a different M. Night Shyamalan movie. There'll be signs of things to come. I referenced the same M. Night Shyamalan movie. I can't think of the last time I've seen an M. Night Shyamalan movie. Is he still, are those still anticipated? I literally am not sure if I've seen an M. Night Shyamalan movie since Mel Gibson and Signs. I don't got one off the top of the dome. That was an okay movie. His movies started to become very predictable, right? In that you just knew that there was going to be some crazy twist, and it's just that was all the things. We'll figure that out. Blair Witch Project. I'm just slow on the pickup today. It means we need to hop into our Thompson Road Tavern opening menu so we can officially launch this puppy here today. 'Tis a Thursday at the Thompson Road Tavern. Their doors just cracked open for the day 4 minutes prior. What do we got going on at the Thompson Road Tavern today? This is a nice little, it's cold again outside. Man, is there anything, oh yeah, Blair Witch Project isn't a Shyamalan movie. Yeah, that's a good point, Spatching the way. See, I've whiffed on your thing completely. I stand by my M. Night Shyamalan stance. Yeah, I've totally whiffed. I've totally whiffed on your entire reference. It's just it's a 3-pitch swing and a miss strikeout. Just terrible. Just absolutely terrible. Anyway, it's cold again today. Is it just me, or now that we're on to like winter 2 here for a little bit, or winter 3, I've lost count. Like, it's 32 degrees out. In the grand scheme of life, it's not that cold. 32 degrees today feels bone-chilling cold, where like a month ago it was like 10 degrees, and you're like, all right. Like, once it warms up a little bit, it is just absolutely atrocious when it gets cold again. Anyway, here's a nice belly-filling dish that you can get at the Thompson Road Tavern today. Pierogies and kielbasa. They're hitting you from they're hitting you from every Polish angle that they can come at you. They're like, boom, the kielbasa, then shoop, a pierogi over the top with onions, bacon, and sour cream. They're doing it. They're doing it up. You get all of those things. Not some of those things. You get all of those things for the low price of $11.95. And this sounds like a nice cold weather day soup. A creamy tortellini with sausage. There we are. The Thompson Road Tavern, our opening menu. On the menu today for this year program, as we'll take you up to the East Coast lunching hour, we will talk about Brian Blair. I'm going to answer Weeze's question whether he wants me to or not. I'm going to answer it whether he wants me to or not. What is Brian Blair's which Blair Witch Project? Oh, I can't do it today. I'm sorry. What's the most important thing other than the clear and obvious answer of hire basketball coach? What does he need to do for the athletic department to do something that will say to the Syracuse sporting world that he is jump-starting his tenure in the right way? Will we crack open Portal Watch? Maybe, even though the portal does not open writ large until after the tournament is over. Technically, the portal cracks open for players to exit stage left whenever your coach is exited. That has happened in Syracuse, so if Orange players want to hop into the portal, haven't heard of any of it yet, it is open and available to them. We'll get a little bit of lax in our lives. No wrong answers. Syracuse Lacrosse is out in the Rockies to take on Air Force tonight and Denver on a Monday. So no wrong answers you on the Air Force game for tonight. And your calls if you'd like to get anything in today. The link is pinned top of the chat. That's where it is. You click it. And then just do the things, click the buttons, and you'll be right back. It's enough out of you, fella Ferda. We've been through the Brian with a Y situation. I will keep my eye, and I will keep my eye to the death. We may have to rumble with these Brians with a Y. Maybe we can have we can go to Camp David or something and have a peace accord. I don't know. I'm just a little suspicious of this potential Brian with a Y takeover of the entire Syracuse athletics operation. I'm a little suspicious. Some might say, shouldn't you be celebrating your fellow Bryans? Well, if they hired Brian with an I, Blair, and Brian with an I, Hodgson, then I'd say yes, absolutely. These Bryans with a Y. I've got my eye on you. Literally. Figuratively. All of them. Yeah. We'll see. All right, there we are. Thompson Road Tavern. Opening menu for the day. Oh, I've started the show again. I blame all Bryans with Ys for that. That's who I blame for that. I blame every Brian with a Y for screwing up the beginning of the show. So, here we are about Brian with a Y Blair. Now, show of hands, who had heard of Brian with a Y Blair before around about 20-ish, 19 hours ago? My hand's down. Your hand should likely be down too. Oh, they did. I know they had cut Tucker. They brought him back. Good for Sean. I'm pleased with that signing. So everything I've read so far, and admittedly there's not a ton out there. This guy's 41, 42. Something like that. Adrian with a Y? I don't know if I've ever seen that spelling. That's exotic. Everything that's been touted of his time at Toledo, go Rockets, is that the entire athletic department as a whole seemed to have been raised up. I know the Olympic sports are not a priority necessarily for a lot of Syracuse fans, but I will say this, say what you want about Darryl Gross's tenure, and there's plenty of things to be said, good, bad, and otherwise. Syracuse got good at a lot of sports that they had not typically been good at, or got good again at sports that had gone fallow. Men's soccer at Syracuse had not been properly supported financially and with scholarships and the whole thing. So it crumbled a little late under Dean Fody due to a lot of factors out of his control. They brought in Ian McIntyre. They gave Ian McIntyre the full complement of scholarships, which Dean did not have. And what did it lead to? ACC championships and a national championship. And on top of that, hot damn, it was fun. Syracuse being good at soccer, I didn't think I would care, but then they got good. Man, it was fun. They won a field hockey national championship. I didn't know a lick about field hockey, then all of a sudden they were good. So I'm maybe I should learn a little something about field hockey. Winning that was fun. You know what was fun? A cross-country national championship. Justin Knight going to the Olympics, having all of those great runners. That was fun. The women's basketball getting good. That was fun. Like all of the women's lacrosse, obviously being the best program in the country to not have won a national title. It was fun, save for the last part of that sentence. So I like that he seems to try to raise the tide of all of it. Like Toledo, I forget the exact number. It's something like Toledo won more MAC championships across all bounds. Like during his tenure than they had. It was like in the previous 10 or 15 years combined. Whatever the exact number was, it was something to that effect. So we like that. We also like that he did that in this era. Because, Kev, to your point, everything that is out there to be read right now says that Toledo in their league was on the leading edge of NIL. And not just, like every school in the country went from here to here, right? But they were, it sounds like, the first school in the MAC to be properly organized. And honestly, the best way you can compare NIL is to your peers, right? Like you hear, Kentucky basketball spent $80 bajillion, Texas football spent $80 bajillion. All right, Syracuse isn't going to do that, but like where is Syracuse in comparison to like schools and the ACC and the whole thing? So they're bringing in an AD that at least with their school, like I'm sure Toledo's NIL isn't competitive, probably even with Syracuse's, but with his school, they were on the leading edge of things in their conference. Forward thinking, quick to act. I like that. He has a background in fundraising. In this era of college sports, in previous eras of college sports, like fundraising has always been important, right? But go back to 20, 30 years ago, even less than that. Like what was the fundraising primarily for? The fundraising back then was primarily for, in many ways, brick and mortar buildings, donors' names on buildings. We need a weight room, we need stuff like this, and whatever. And in many ways, like the schools that had obscene amounts of money just built stuff that was nonsensical. Like, why does Clemson have a slide in their football facility? Because they had money they didn't know what to do with. Does a slide and the mini golf course help them win football games? Probably not, but they just had a pile of cash and were like, well, we should probably build something. Now for the most part, I'd say, the Lally facility is not totally complete. Like, there's a lot of stuff still going on, but, it's all headed in the right direction. It's all designed. It's all ready to go in construction or whatever. But for the most part, when that is done, I'd say Syracuse is going to be reasonably on par with the world athletically, top to bottom, football, basketball, and otherwise, with the facilities. But fundraising is vital now, and directing fundraising, because you still do need those brick and mortar projects. Mini golf can be important. That's not a shot at mini golf. That's a shot at the necessity of an indoor mini golf course in your football complex. So now with NIL, with rising coaching salaries, with bloated staffs on these teams, like basketball staffs have grown, football staffs have damn near doubled in size. Like the amount of people that need a paycheck these days, including the players, the number has gone up incrementally. Then add on the rev share stuff that started this year, which basically increased the Syracuse athletic department budget overnight by 20%. Fundraising is vitally important, like literally to get through the day-to-day. And depending on how you raise the funds or allocate it, it can go here, there, or wherever. But, okay, if this guy's a good fundraiser, and I don't necessarily, sure, him like actually, buttering up the donors and getting the money would be great. But I think the main job right now of an athletic director in this day and age is making sure that overall fundraising for all of those things you need is cohesively organized within your department, and you have people below you that you can trust make it happen. So it sounds like he did this in Toledo. I'm not up on the Rockets fundraising program, but hopefully it blasts off rocket pun, at Syracuse. And the other thing I like, and the thing I said I wanted, it's what we've talked about with Syracuse basketball head coach. And we'll get into it later with who's next today. That in many ways this year we are disqualifying candidates to be the next Syracuse basketball head coach if they are not currently a head coach. So, and then I wondered, why are we not doing the same thing with athletic director? Like Nick Carparelli was a big name out there. He's done a lot of things in the college sporting space. He's never been an athletic director. John Wildhack obviously has now been an athletic director for a decade. He'd never worked a day in college sports administration before he became the AD at Syracuse. Heather Lyke obviously was in the mix, but she was fired from her job as athletic director in the same league that Syracuse is in and left Pitt with a solid list of problems that they are still dealing with that we've been over ad nauseum. What I like about Brian with a Y, Blair, right now is that he is actively working as an athletic director in this era, which is way, way, way different than the era of a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and 5 years ago. Things have changed more in the last 5 years in college athletics than they had changed in the 20 years prior to that. It has changed a shocking amount. So I like the idea that Syracuse sounds like they're going to hire somebody that literally had to deal with all of it. So for a guy I never heard of 19 hours ago, because I am not up on Toledo's athletic department other than their football defensive coordinator, Vince Carras, now draws his paycheck from Syracuse University. Besides that, not up on the Rockets. They're in Toledo. Syracuse has played them before in a variety of sports. That's there we are. They make a lot of rubber in Toledo. Like I don't know what else you want. Tires. So besides that, like, don't know a lot about the guy, but the stuff I have read about him, if he is what that stuff says he is, which again, who knows? If he is all of the things that are said about him, and if he can continue to do those things successfully at Syracuse, he checks a lot of the boxes of the things I've been talking about for a month that Syracuse should be looking for in an athletic director. So, hey, like I'm sure the trustees, I'm sure Tirico and all of them, they got the show on when they're determining other AD. They're like, yeah, those are boxes we should check. I just assume that's how it goes. And I feel like this guy, on the face of it, without having heard of him 19 hours ago, this guy checks the boxes of what I think Syracuse needed. Whereas Heather Lyke did not, whereas Nick Carparelli did not check all of the boxes. He checked some. They both checked some. Whereas a lot of the other candidates that were mentioned that had Syracuse ties or whatever didn't necessarily check all of the boxes. This guy, just because we hadn't heard of him yesterday, doesn't mean he doesn't check the boxes. So I like that. I like that. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I have no idea how it goes. That's right. Syracuse had to get out of the Toledo football game this year. Maybe that's how, like, realistically, maybe that's how people inside the administration started getting to know Brian Blair. I don't know, because of stuff like that. That's a real way people start to get in touch over things. Was Bob Costas' pink eye involved in this decision in any capacity? I don't know. I did have, quick aside, Weez. 2008, this was not the pink eye year for Costas. I want to say Costas got the pink eye in, where did he get it? In Sochi? So that was the Russia Olympics. When was that? 2014? 28 after Beijing. He was fresh back in the U.S. and on campus for the, it was for the Express premiere in Syracuse. So we were just like our pregame show on the quad. It was myself and Coach Mack at the time, the football Coach Mack, not the soccer Coach Mack. And we get Costas on the pregame show, but it was right after, if anyone remembers from Olympic broadcast 18 years ago, I'm sure you're locked in on it. Like, Mary Carrillo had gotten Bob to, like, eat a scorpion live on air. Not a live scorpion. It was a dead scorpion, very crunchy, but she had gotten him to eat it live on air. So we were talking to Bob about eating a scorpion. He had not yet had the pink eye. So, yeah, I don't know if I've interviewed Bob post pink eye. Yeah. Don't recall. It was very pink. That was a lot of pink eye to be having just in the middle of Russia. When you're like, do I want the Russians? Like, I realize it's just an antibiotic, but what is this Russian medicine? Yeah, Bob got wiped out by that pink eye. Back to Brian with a Y, Blair. Yeah, fellow Ferda. Like, the experience he's had seems to be productive, seems to be good, and it's been in areas that Syracuse needs a step forward in. I'd say let's give it a whirl. Let's give it a whirl. Now, we'll see how it works out. Hopefully he's here longer than Mark Hoyle, who was here 9 months. Like, I thought Mark had a lot of great skill sets. I liked what Mark was doing, but then he was gone. If Brian Blair, I don't know what his trajectory is. Like, is Syracuse an end goal? Is he shooting for, like, trying to become, like, an SEC or Big Ten AD where they got gobs of cash? I have no idea. But all right, let's get the guy in. Let's see in 4 or 5 years, what can he accomplish? Can he get things on track? Basketball is obviously the most important thing right now. Talk about, like, task 1, hire a basketball coach. Task 2, talk about fundraising. We talked about this yesterday with the new basketball staff. Red said all these things, and he said them late in the game, and it comes off late in the game like sour grapes and complaining and all of that. It doesn't mean he was wrong. Now, if this stuff was different, would Red have succeeded? I don't think the answer to that question is yes. But look at the staff. They increased the ability to have a volume of assistant coaches on staff from 3 to 6 a few years ago. The Orange didn't add anybody. They technically... Now, what did that do? It just allowed different people to be on the court, more people to be on court at practice, more different people to go recruiting, whatever. They basically, Syracuse did, they took everyone who was already on staff, video coordinator, director of operations, etc., and technically they were all also called assistant coaches. I don't know if it came with a pay raise. My guess would be no, or if so, minimal. And all that did was technically allow them to do assistant coach stuff. Syracuse now, all right, you can have 6 assistants, have 6. Then have your director of operations. Then have your video coordinator. Then have your strength coach. Then have your GM. Then have an assistant GM. Like, the basketball staff should be for whomever the new head coach is, Jerry, Brian with a Y, Hodgson, whomever else. The basketball staff should be, in this day and age, legitimately 4 to 5 people larger than it was for Jim Boeheim and Red. Because the basketball staff did not change size, save for GM, from Jim Boeheim to Red. And even the GM got there probably 2 years later than it should have, right? And we saw how it affected Syracuse in the portal, the first few years of the portal, especially like that year that led to Eddie Lampkin and that whole crew. So that's the first thing, is new AD needs to be like, all right, yeah, you need that. We're approving that. We're funding that. We're taking care of that financially. Like, that's under the purview of an athletic director to take care of that stuff. So that is very important quickly. The other thing to go along with it is basketball NIL. And again, I know people didn't want to hear Red complain about it. I know people don't really want to hear Jim Boeheim talk about it anymore. Let's all assume that this 8 million number we've heard about Syracuse is correct for the year. Whether it is, whether it isn't, whether it's off a little bit, who cares? The top members in the league are certainly way above that. I'd say doubling that to 16 million, that's probably a step too far in a year on the ambition scale. How much can you ratchet it up in a year? Can you get to 10? Can you get to 12? And can you do that without negatively affecting, very specifically, football's financing? Because this can't be, a take from Peter to pay Paul situation. I have no word that anyone named Paul is in the running for basketball coach, and I've never heard Fran called Peter, but you get the gist. So say it's Brian Hodgson, right? And Brian Hodgson has ties to the Lallies, and obviously the Lallies are significant football donors. They're getting more into NIL now. Obviously, facilities were their main driving point for many years. And they've got just an asinine amount of money, but again, like, it's very easy to spend somebody else's money. Maybe they have hit the limit of the amount they want to spend per year. I don't want the Lallies to donate to basketball, but then that money is coming out of football, because that's not a net positive for the athletic department. And this is, I think, the main job of ADs in this day and age. Get the money in the pool, then allocate it where it needs to go. So the total NIL pot available for all these sports needs to grow, and then figure out where you need to get it and where you need to get it to. So talking about two things the new AD, presumably Brian Blair, needs to do right away. Those are the two. Get a grip on the basketball staff situation. Make sure new head coach can hit the ground running with all of those positions filled, and, immediately, because the portal will be open. And then make sure, because you're going to need to, the money doesn't have to be like in your hands, but you need to be confident it's going to be, because you will need that money also immediately to know how much to be promising basketball players in the portal this year. You need to know. You don't, you can fudge it a little bit and say, okay, the check's not here yet, but you need to have a sense of what you're telling the new head coach his budget is for next year in order to put together a roster, and then you can work on player retention, then you can work on player acquisition, and the whole things. Realistically, like athletic directors, they got to worry about all the sports, and they got to worry about big picture and all of this. Step one, new AD, is basketball for a lot of reasons, and making sure they're funded, set up, and ready to go for this current era. And that everyone, the AD, the new head coach, everybody understands all of the things that Red said held them back. Whether you believe Red, don't believe Red, thought it would have changed things for Red or not, it doesn't matter at this point. But all of those things need to be understood, that, the new head coach needs to understand that in this day and age, you need that stuff. The AD needs to understand that in this day and age, you need that stuff. You can't be not looking the part. I think back many years ago now. This was Doug Marone's first year. Fran's just giving out that money. Fran don't care. I'm not saying you got to take it to that extreme that Fran does it. But you gotta be understanding. All right, what is in your grasp to actually pick it up? Does anybody say that's a good question, Spatch and Louise? That's a good question. They do an Office Space. Great flick. Oh, man. Yeah, call is done. Yeah, you'd like to think that, Big Tuna. Sometimes, it depends how many of those people you got, right? Sometimes the well gets close to dry and you got to make decisions. So, yeah, yes, that's good, but you never know. You never know. So I think that's the starting point for all of this. But I think back to, you have to act like Syracuse University. Let's start speaking loudly and swinging a big stick, right? I think back to 2008. Doug Marone had just taken over the football job. Was his first game or second game, whatever, they played a game at Penn State. It did not go well. Doug knew it wasn't going to go well, and Doug ran the ball basically every play. That game took 2 hours. That, in and out, kept it moving. But Doug Marone, at the time, conscious of budget and all of this, aware that Happy Valley in the grand scheme of life is not that far from here. It's about a 4-hour drive. It's a 4-hour drive into the middle of damn nowhere, but it's a 4-hour drive. Was going to bus there, because in many ways busing there would have been easier than flying there in a lot of ways. Less moving parts and whatever. But Rob Edson, who was the CFO of the athletic department at the time, rest in peace to Rob, basically said, no, we're Syracuse, get on the damn plane. I don't know if those were the exact words, but it's no, that's not how this is getting done, because we are big time and we got to act big time. This is the time for Syracuse to be like, and this is where, like, Chancellor on down, the university itself, not just the athletic department, has to be prepared to invest in athletics institutionally to make that happen. Where this is not the time to not be acting like big boys and big girls here. Syracuse has to be approaching all of this stuff as if it is the big guy in town and go in there and act like it and take what's theirs and the whole thing. Because if you don't do that in this day and age, whatever the next layer and level and amount of realignment is, people are going to look around and say, well, these guys are acting small time. They are small time. Why should they be a part of the big time? This is a time to act like you're in the big time. I mean, don't spend like a reckless drunk sailor or something, but you gotta know. You've got to know that how important it is to project a position of power and strength from the athletic department right now, and especially the basketball program, especially the basketball program. So there we are, a little intro thoughts to what Brian Blair is going to have to deal with whenever he is officially approved and announced and the whole thing as the Syracuse athletic director. All sounds like that is going to happen significantly sooner than later. What's also going to happen sooner than later is finding a new basketball coach. Well, today, I would say, realistically, is it going to be either Brian Hodgson or Jerry McNamara? Today, I'd say probably yes. That said, I do trust that they're going to, due diligence, full search, whatever. Theme week, we're doing top assistants at major programs here this week on Who's Next.
Mason here. It's time to continue our search for the next Syracuse basketball head coach. With today's candidate, here's Brian.
Today's candidate. I don't know if he's hip to the series or what. Today's candidate, without any way he could have known he's today's candidate. Like, unless he's, like, broke into the house and, like, looked at my files and my notebook in front of me and whatnot. That's the only way he could have known. Like, this is not, like, this information's not out there. This information's not out there. Today's candidate yesterday on the gram followed me. So, I think that already, like, why? I don't know why. I mean, it's compelling content and all. I just don't know why the person we talk about today would have wanted to do that. It's beside the point he follows more than 3,000 people. He follows Fran Brown on Instagram. Where is it? Where's the list? I got the list here somewhere. Hang on. I need a different screen on my phone. Who else is he following? It disappeared. It disappeared. Gotta bring him back. Who else is he following? He's following a ton Thomas. He's following the Cuse men's basketball account. He's following Fran Brown. He's following Kyan Anthony, JJ Starling, rest in peace, Lawrence Moten. He's following Billy Owens. This guy is on Instagram. He's also the associate head coach for a team that is going to be in one seed and potentially, depending how it falls out shortly, the number one overall seed in the upcoming NCAA tournament. Today's Who's Next is Duke's associate head coach and my newest Instagram follower, one Chris Carrawell, who, quite ironically, in the year 2000, in the regional semifinals, his collegiate basketball career came to an end at the hands of Mike Miller and Billy Donovan and Florida, and he wept and then he left. But he follows me on the gram now, so now I'm all about Chris Carrawell. Seems like just a fantastic bloke, and we should probably give him a chance. So today's Who's Next is Duke associate head coach, one Chris Carrawell. Now, Duke's a team, they got coaches on coaches. Their bench has rows. They got a lot of guys. So here's Chris Carrawell's career. So after Duke, and Chris was like a very good, not quite great college player. He was a major recruit. He was a very good, not quite great college player. Never sniffed the NBA. Played overseas. Played in a lot of places. Was a member of the Rochester Razor Sharks. Was that the CBA at the time? I mean, ABL? Who knows what they were calling it back in 06. got into coaching at Springfield Armor. Springfield, what even is Springfield Armor? I guess that was an old G League team, a D League team at the time. His first collegiate coaching job, he spent 4 years at Marquette, working for another Dookie at the time in Steve Wojciechowski. Then he moved from there in 2018 to Duke and joined Coach K's staff. And then when John Shire moved up to the big chair, Chris Carrawell slid down the bench to Shire's chair and became the associate head coach of Duke. So this is a guy that, again, we talked UConn on Monday. We're talking Duke today. I understand this is unseemly and plug your nose in the whole thing. But, okay, it is, it is a staff, obviously, that has unbelievable success over the years. Unbelievable success over the years. So Chris Carrawell has, learned all this stuff at Duke. Now, much like I said on Monday when we talked about Kamani Young and we talked about Luke Murray at UConn, I do not think Syracuse will go this route, specifically because Red was this route. Red was the associate head coach at Syracuse and got the job without ever having been head coach before. I don't think Syracuse is in position to hire a guy that hasn't been head coach before. That said, to your point, Christian Burns, right? Nolan Smith came up through that, and he's in the tournament with Tennessee State. Jay Lucas, former Duke assistant, and wasn't even the associate head coach, I don't believe, last year, unless he was one of two. They got a lot of titles on that Duke staff. He was a hot candidate last year, got scooped up by Miami to replace the retiring Jim Larrañaga, and got the first year as an ACC head coach. Miami hasn't played yet in the ACC tournament, day 3 today, because Jay Lucas got Miami to the 3 seed, and they don't play till tonight. So former Duke assistant coaches without previous head coaching experience have gone into it and have had immediate success. So I don't know if Syracuse can go that route because of what happened with Red, but if you're going to, I think you should at least give a look at the UConn guys. National champions 2 times over, both of them. At Carrawell from Duke. Florida. Who's Florida? Florida's got a guy. Florida basketball coaching staff. Florida's got a guy. His name has gone in and out of my head. Todd Golden's their, young guy, excitable head coach. Florida's got 2 associate head coaches, Corey McRae and Carlin Hartman. Double the associate head coach situation. Look at these staffs. Florida's got associate head coach, assistant coach, player development, and another assistant coach. So, then they got strength and conditioning. They got the trainer. They got a director of basketball strategy of analytics. They got a director of operations. They got a video coordinator. I'm sure their NIL person and GM is somewhere, but that's a deep staff. So, yeah, look at the recently successful programs that have succeeded in this area. Florida won the title last year and is positioned to make a run again. UConn's won 2 of the last 3 and is positioned to make a run again. Duke is up there and good every year. If you are going to hire an assistant coach that has not been a head coach before, it might as well be one from those programs that have won at a high level very specifically in this era. Because, as we all know, winning in this era is very, very different than winning in previous eras, even though Florida, Duke, UConn, it's like familiar suspects, right? But they're doing it in different ways now. Florida won those 2 titles with Billy Donovan when it was Joakim Noah and Al Horford and Torian Green, who's actually an assistant on this staff here with Florida, and Corey Brewer. They won it all. They won it all as juniors, and those guys came back and won it as seniors. That stuff doesn't happen anymore. Now it's NIL, it's portal, it's analytics, it's the whole thing. Like, Florida's got a guy on the staff who's literally the director of basketball strategy in analytics. Literally. That's his title. Syracuse, like, sort of had somebody like that left, like, early in the season. You need somebody. You need these things. Now you might say, oh, well, can't the coaches do that? Sure they can, but it's also optics, right? It's knowing these things. It's in the era, right, of the challenge system, of having somebody like that that's locked in and telling you when to challenge so you're not wasting timeouts. It's all of these things. It's all of these things. Yeah, Bobby Hurley's available. He could ask Danny. There we go. A lot of people immediately, Dookie V immediately jumped on Bobby Hurley to Syracuse. Like, Hurley did not have a great tenure at Arizona State. He was fine. They had the 1 year that they did they get to number 1 in the country? They had the 1 year they were really, really, really good by the middle of the season, and then never quite that again. Like, he was good at Buffalo, but Nate Oates did better at Buffalo right on the heels of him. I don't know. Bobby Hurley, I'm not feeling it. Maybe we'll stuff him into a Who's Next for next week just because, the Who's Next train keeps rolling until we have an answer to the question. But I'm not really feeling a Bobby Hurley situation. Andy's a Hurley, and I think Danny's more insane, but Bobby's not uninsane. Like, do we want the worst? Like, do we want a worse Hurley coach who's also nuts? Like, if you're gonna get Hurley insanity, I want natties. Like, I want natties. Like, if you're gonna get Hurley insanity, get me the guy that's winning national championships, not the guy that just got fired and made 3 tournaments in 11 years. Go get Jeff Capel, former Dookie. Go figure. Here, full circle. Who's next? Chris Carrawell replaced on Duke's staff. Jeff Capel. Jeff Capel had that job. Got hired as the Pitt head coach, and that's when Coach K reached out and hired Chris Carrawell from Marquette. It all ties together. Yeah, Micah Shrewsbury. I'm sure Notre Dame would be like, yeah, buy out now, whatever. Just here you go. Just take that guy. Whatever. Just go ahead, take that guy. So this week, our theme on Who's Next is big time major assistants. All these guys I've talked about, I think, are extremely capable of becoming top-level college head coaches. Luke Murray, people love him at UConn. He's got great schemes. Kamani Young, great recruiter, another guy at UConn that seems to really fit well. Chris Carrawell, everyone seems to like him at Duke. All of these coaches in Florida, they're spoken highly of. Obviously, after UConn, they got the best run operation going in the country right now, it seems, with the quick rise of Golden in the last couple of years in the national championship last year. I just don't think, as we wrap up Who's Next today, that Syracuse is in position, based on red, to make that move right now, unless one of these guys, and I'm not saying don't interview him, kick the tires, talk to Luke Murray, talk to Kamani Young, talk to Chris Carrawell. I mean, Carrawell's following you on the gram, slip into his DMs. He might already be in the Syracuse DMs. I don't know. Talk to these guys. These guys in an interview setting better blow you away beyond a shadow of a doubt, beyond Brian Hodgson, beyond Jerry McNamara, beyond whoever you talk to. If they absolutely blow your socks off, then sure. But if it's anything close to a tie, if it's anything close right now, I think Syracuse has to go with somebody that has legitimate head coaching experience, because we just saw what happens when you learn on the job. If you interview Luke Murray and he knocks it so far out of the park that every doubt is removed, go for it. If you interview Chris Carrawell and he is the most impressive guy you've ever talked to, all right, go for it. But they better clearly be the guy. This is not a tie. This is a tie goes to the head coach situation, not a tie goes to the assistant. There we go. That's what I'm saying, JM. Like, this time around, let's blow some socks off. Get some socks blown off this year. Who's next? Well, Who's Next it again. Coming up on a Monday in our next live in the 315. So there we are. Little Who's Next today. My newest Instagram follower. I followed back. Like it just felt. I felt I should. Chris Carrawell. I'm following a Dookie now. I don't feel great about it, but maybe he's the nicest guy, and maybe he's willing to throw out all of his Duke blue and start wearing orange all the time. I don't know. These are things that we will have to find out. All right. I just need to. I need to stretch out the joints a little bit for this. I got to limber up. I have no news to report on this today. I just want to make sure. Yeah, what if he doesn't wear? If he doesn't wear socks, he's not qualified for this damn job, Kev. It is Syracuse and it is winter. If you don't wear socks, you're going to get frostbite. It's ridiculous. We need a coach who wears socks. You may skip your socks if you're on a like an islandy trip or something. If you wear no-show socks or something, okay. But like it's cold out. Wear socks. We're going to do just a brief version of this because it's coming. And technically correct is the best kind of correct, that Syracuse players are now free and available to enter if they'd like.
Hi, it's Mason. And I'd never enter the transfer portal, but many have. And many Orange will continue to come and go. This is Portal Watch. Again, here's Brian.
Portal Watch, basketball day, -25 until the portal is open for everyone. The day after the national championship game, April 7th, I do believe, it cracks open. But Red is out a gig, which means every Syracuse player right now is available to enter the transfer portal. So I just want to hit the button, make sure the videos are still working. We haven't fired up Portal Watch since football season. We gotta explore the space here a little bit. No news to report. Nothing has happened, but every single player on the Orange roster, save for those that are out of eligibility, a.k.a. William Kyle and J.J. Starling and Bryce Effer, I guess, are there. You can toss your name in right now. Nobody's done it yet, but it is something that, eyes and ears open, everybody. Vigilance. The transfer portal always requires vigilance, and we'll maybe see that. My hope is here, and again, you can enter the portal and stay. My hope is that the Syracuse players have at least a little bit of patience. In that, if I were them, and vice versa, unless I just totally knew I was done with Syracuse, if I were them and vice versa, I'd want to understand that the new hire is coming sooner than later. And even though I'm able to get in the portal now, I would like to be able to meet with the new head coach and new staff before making a decision. And likewise the other way, if I'm the new coach and the new staff, I would like to meet with the players. Oh, you got to keep Noah Lebdell out of the portal now. Noah Lebdell, a vital member of the entire operation due to the NIL finances. Save Noah. I'd say if there's one player, I'm certain it won't be in the portal. Noah Lebdell. If a new head coach comes in and runs Noah Lebdell off the roster, then I think perhaps they have made the wrong decision at the coaching spot. So there we are. Just a little brief Portal Watch just to get our head on straight. It's Portal Watch Day -25. Yes, it starts in negatives. Realistically, the people Syracuse is going to be adding in the portal are not going to be officially in the portal. Probably. I mean, there are other fired coaches, but probably until April 7th. We'll see. It's going to be a chaotic portal season. It always is. So there we are. A little bit of Portal Watch, just a taste of it, a morsel, a smidge, just to remind us all it's there and get us ready to go. With that, and a link pinned top of the chat if you'd like to join the show. Of course, that's always available to you during any of our fine programs here on the old YouTube. But with that, we have done our final no wrong answers of the men's basketball season. Selection Sunday is a coming for the women. I still hate that they moved the women's selection Sunday to Sunday. I liked the selection Monday. They had their own stage. It was a thing. Now it gets all blended in, and it's a mess. I think that was a stupid decision. Neither here nor there. We will find out on Sunday night when and where the Orange women are going. Stores. And see who they're playing in the first round and all that. So we'll think, why not fire up a little No Wrong Answers women's basketball for the tournament next week? But for the moment, right now, today, as we're just, we are putting Mason hard at work today, despite the fact I apparently never switched this out to the No Wrong Answers with the Lacrosse logo. Do I have time to do that real quick? Hang on. We got to do a little something behind the scenes that you can't see what's going on. Click this button here. Click this button there. Do a little clickety clack this. We need to click this button here. That button there. Don't mind me clicking this button here. It's over here somewhere. I've clicked on the wrong thing. It's over in here somewhere. Now I'm clicking there. Where is it? There it is. We're going to take that. Yep, that's what we need. We're going to take that. We're going to move that down to here. And now, hang on, we got to do it one more time. Wait, just one more thing. Don't mind me. Don't mind the man behind the curtain. Just randomly clicking buttons that you can't see because it's not on the screen. And now it's officially time to get you ready for Lax tonight in the mountains.
Hi, Mason again. It's time to find out exactly what's going to happen in the next Syracuse game. This is No Wrong Answers. Here's Brian.
Oh, I screwed it up. I put the logo over the top. Oh, error. Operator error. No Wrong Answers. Lax, Syracuse, on the road at Air Force tonight. It's a 3 o'clock Mountain, 5 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time opening face-off today from lovely Colorado Springs. The Syracuse and Air Force will meet out there. Not a whole long series history between these two. The Orange have actually played out there before we go into the history books. I will say this. The last time Syracuse played lacrosse games in Colorado, they did win the national championship later that season. It was 2002. It was, give or take, the same time of the year. They actually did it on back-to-back days. They played Air Force on Saturday, March the 9th in 2022, a 20-8 win. Then they played Denver the day after that, March the 10th, a 13 to 10 win. So they won both of the games. A very pixelated picture of a young Mike Powell's on the Cuse.com from those years, many moons ago. But even after those wins, Coach Desko swore, because it was so physically taxing on the team in the back-to-back days, they came back home. They lost their next game in Homewood to Johns Hopkins. Desko swore he'd never do that again. He's like, go out to the mountains, altitude, do that? Yeah, no. Now, Gary last year, he wasn't in Colorado. They went out to Utah, remember, and won, and it was a sluggish start. They didn't really get their legs until a little bit into the game. This year, they've already been out there for a few days. This week is break for Syracuse. Gary likes to have a nice trip over break. The women's team always seemed to end up in Florida for like a week. But Gary's got them out in Colorado. I think they went to, did they go to an Avalanche game, I believe? They went to see the hockey a couple nights ago. They've got the Lax tonight. And then the games are actually a little spread out. Game tonight, then game on Monday. So we'll see if they handle the altitude and all of that here a little bit better. Air Force, the opponent tonight. Here's the thing about Air Force this year. Playoff team a year ago. This year, holy moly, they stink out loud. They're 1-5. They beat Lafayette in the opener, then an 8-goal loss to Denver, a 5-goal home loss to Ohio State. They went to Siena. So they're playing Syracuse and Siena in the year, but they're separate. Okay, whatever. They went to Siena and lost by 12. Then they went back-to-back, went down to Poughkeepsie, played Marist, lost by 2. Came back home out to Colorado Springs the other day, and it got just annihilated last weekend by Duke, 21-6. So it's not going well for Air Force. As far as the Orange, back up to number 7 in the poll this week. Season was getting a little wobbly. 3-0, beat Maryland, number 1 in the country. Lose the tight one to Harvard, get blasted by Princeton, down 8-4 to Penn. Nobody's feeling great. Rally back and beat Penn, and then go down to Hopkins last week, and for all intents and purposes, setting Maryland aside, very buttoned-up win for the Orange. Wasn't spectacular. The end of the first quarter, you got a little Syracuse run and gun fun stuff today. Wasn't spectacular, but buttoned up, took care of business, 12-8, never really threatened down the stretch. John Mullen played well again. Joey Spallina had a fantastic game. Luke Roa got going, and Jimmy McCool is outstanding in the cage, as he has been all season long. And the Orange, just a really nice, solid win on the road at Hopkins. So here we are, no wrong answers. Tonight, this afternoon, out in Colorado Springs, Syracuse and Air Force. We got to start with Joey Spallina. Joey had a massive, massive game against Hopkins last time out. I think he's back on track. I think he keeps it rolling today. Let's go 3-3 for Joey, goals and assists in this game. Feels like every game, either Michael Leo or Luke Roa gets it going. We had a Michael Leo game against Penn. We had a Luke Roa game at Hopkins. Let's just go back to Michael Leo. Hat trick for Leo in the ball game today. Finn Thompson is starting to play well. It was a strange start to the year for Finn, right? It just felt a little off. He wasn't really connecting. It wasn't flowing, wasn't vibing right. Finn's been playing well the last couple of games. We'll give Finn 2-2 in this game here today. Elsewhere, John Mullen face off a dot. Air Force's face-off, guys, not good. Below 50% as a crew. This is a game where, all right, get it rolling and then get out, right? I think Mullen wins 70% of the draws today, and then try to get a lead and turn it over to others late. Save your legs for Monday against Denver. Jimmy McCool has been fantastic this season. Let's give Jimmy McCool 65% saves today. I think he's just been dynamite in the goal for the Orange this season. And how about no wrong answers, Billy Dwan? 4 goals from close to fence already this year. He is, man, he's exciting with the ball in his stick, and he's a fantastic defender as well. Why not keep it rolling? Dwan puts one in the net today yet again. No wrong answers. Syracuse and Air Force this afternoon. Colorado Springs. Final score, Syracuse 19, Air Force 7. I think it's going to be a good old-fashioned butt-whooping today for the Orange out in Colorado Springs. 19-7 is the final score. No post-game show tonight. Other plans this evening. We'll try to do a post-game show Monday for Syracuse and Denver. I don't know if we're going to be able to watch that game due to weird television. I think it's on Altitude, which is like the local Denver area cable sports channel. It's like the Yes of out there, which means I don't think it's on my cable package anywhere. So we'll see what we can do about that, and we'll monkey around and see if we can't do post game on Monday. So there we are. Little no wrong answers for Syracuse and Air Force in their lax game today. Again, it's a 5:00 local time here. Face off 3:00 local time. There's the Orange are out in the mountains. With that, I think that's going to, do I know what channel the Lax game is on today? Today's game, I think, Jen, is ESPN Plus. ESPN Plus for today's game, Jen. So that I can tell you. ESPN Plus for today's game. Monday, wonky. We'll do a little more research on that. But today, ESPN Plus. I can easily tell you that one. With that, I think it's going to draw to conclusion our time together today. Man, we've been cramming in the shows this week. Like, we'll be back if there's breaking news and events warrant or something. But at the moment, there are no Syracuse games to speak of this weekend. No Lax this weekend. Basketball's obviously over. Women's tournament doesn't start till next Friday. So, yeah. We'll be hanging on the social medias. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. We'll be back again Monday, live here in the 315 at 11. o'clock. Unless there's breaking news. We could have an emergency show. Lots of stuff's been happening. Anyway, thanks for hanging out all week. We'll talk on Monday.
Thanks for watching the 315 with Brian Higgins. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn your notifications on. We'll see you next time.